Hi friends, I'm Scott Giles, minister and hypnotist, and welcome to PowerTalk, my video blog where I cover those topics that interest me, but always focusing on how you can use the power of your mind to take control of your life. If you want to know more about my professional work or sign up for my Substack newsletter, Powerlines, check out my website, which I'll tag in the description. If there is something in your life that you feel is out of control, using hypnosis can turn that around. Well, today I want to talk about dealing with difficult people, and I'm tempted to say a joke along the lines of, I'm sure none of you have to deal with difficult people. That's a joke because, of course, we all have such people in our lives, unless you're a hermit or something. And anyone who is in a public-facing role will have to do a lot of that, as difficult people are everywhere. However, even if you're not in a public-facing role, you're going to have to do this sometime. Well, the takeaway I want you to have from this video is that one should not feed the trolls. That's an easy way to recall the idea, even though I don't like calling other people trolls. But it's a way of reminding oneself that the worst possible thing anyone can do when dealing with a difficult person is to play their game by their rules. They want you to react to them. They're energized by that. That's why they're difficult. Now, I've often said that one of my principles is to remember that any behavior you reinforce, you will get more of. If you reinforce something by letting the interaction with you succeed, and the other person gets what they want from you, then you've reinforced their behavior and they will do it more. On the other hand, if you respond by opposing what someone wants you to do, well, you're still reinforcing them, just negatively, because they got a rise out of you, and there will be more such behavior because difficult people are often energized by that kind of confrontation. The solution is to not reinforce anything that you do not want more of. Now, when I was a parish minister, I sometimes had to deal with emotionally troubled people because they tend to show up in church congregations. They're a small minority of the congregation, but they can take up a disproportionate amount of the emotional space. In some cases, these folks are people who had chips on their shoulders, and they would target church staff with their stuff. And we'd sit there and listen to rants, and in most cases, we would quickly realize that what the other person was upset about had nothing to do with anything the church staff had done, said, or could control. We were just convenient targets. And that's where I worked out this technique. I would listen. I would consider if the other person had a point, and there was something we needed to change, or something had been misunderstood and we needed to figure out a different way to present it to avoid that misunderstandings. But sometimes we were just sitting there listening to someone rage at us because they're upset about something else in their life and they just wanted to take it out on someone. So I would listen for the one or two positive things they said, and then I would respond only to that as far as possible. So I might end up responding to a tiny portion of what they said, but I reinforced only what was positive or at least reasonable. And on the whole, this was a successful technique. I had a happy 13-year career as a parish minister before moving over to my present work, and that's how I did it. I moved to this present work because it's what I had always wanted to do, but my denomination required time in a parish setting before you could get approval. So I was always careful about what I reinforced when dealing with difficult people. Now, I should mention that you should only do something like this if you're safe. If you're dealing with someone who is potentially violent, either avoid the interaction altogether, have someone else with you, or so on. You're better off not dealing with potentially violent people at all. I mean, I'm a martial artist. Combat holds no fear for me, but I still think it's always wise to avoid potential violence, and I recommend you do the same. But for most cases, simply being careful about what you reinforce with a difficult person is the way to go. Now, recently I've heard of a parallel technique called gray rocking, which is a concept that I'm told was created by a mental health blogger named Skylar in 2012. I don't have a reference for that, but I do like the idea, and I always try to give credit where I can. Gray rocking is to imagine that you're an ordinary stone when dealing with a difficult person. That is, basically you try to stay mentally disengaged and not rise to bait. Now, this is very similar to my idea of selective reinforcement. You never want to add fuel to the fire when dealing with a potentially toxic person. Now, gray rocking or selective reinforcement isn't stonewalling. That's where you don't respond to someone else at all. You do respond, but only to that which is positive or at least reasonable. Unfortunately, this technique, call it what you will, selective reinforcement or gray rocking, will not improve someone else's behavior quickly or even at all. But I believe that if anything would help move things in a positive direction, selective reinforcement, responding only to that which is positive or reasonable, will, or at least has the potential to make things better. But there are no guarantees. And always remember that when dealing with a difficult person, there's an energetic drain. Such people take a toll on you, even under the best of circumstances. So always practice self-care to recover when you've had such an interaction. But in all my years, this is the best way I have ever found to deal with difficult people. Reinforce only that which is positive or reasonable, and just be a gray rock about everything else. I do recommend it. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I'll be back next week with another talk on a different subject, and I'd like to invite you to join me. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, it helps me a lot if you tell others about my videos, so please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. You are welcome to subscribe to my Substack using the buttons you will find on this post or on my website, and that's actually the best way to see my content. And if you're wondering if I can be of help to you at a personal level, consider working directly with me. Feel free to reach out through my website for a complimentary, no-obligation discovery call, and we'll talk about it. Have a great